Quest. Well, I haven't been live in a long time. That's one reason why. Okay, never heard of it in Classical Mama. So this is a classical and Charlotte Mason grammar, writing, language arts, everything. And these are review copies that Kathy Whites, the author, sent me. And I don't use this program myself in my own homeschool because when she contacted me with the materials, I was already doing my own thing. I'm an English major and love writing and have tutored writing and grammar for years in the past, so I kind of already had my own thing put together, but there really aren't a lot of great grammar and language arts programs out there, which is one reason why I had spent, the years that I taught tutoring kind of cobbling together my own thing. And so I was really excited when she sent me her Cottage Press materials. This is her brand new program for the upper school, Poets and Pro Gym, Poetics and Pro Gym. So she has an elementary level. They are pretty, and that was what they feel nice. It's kind of that soft paperback, and inside they are pretty. The font and the spacing and everything is really nice. Let's see, in the kids book, so this is the workbook for Bards and Poets, which is upper school, I think high school. It's just laid out very well. A lot of nice spacing, nice font, so it just feels nice to page through and look at. It's just, the feel of it is beautiful. And what I like about this program, as I've looked through it, is that it does take language arts and puts it all together in one program. So if you use the Cottage Press materials, it is writing, spelling. You learn some in the younger books. You learn spelling rules, which you learn alongside studied dictation. So she takes a lot of she takes the classical areas of study, like you're doing the pro gym, you're doing rhetoric, you're learning those kind of styles, you're learning definition chants, but the methods are also, yes, lots of sentence diagramming. You're also doing studied dictation and narration and picture study and memorizing poems. So it really is classical Charlotte Mason grammar, writing. So you do learn grammar through sentence diagramming. You learn all the poetics terms. So I know Ambleside Online recommends Grammar of Poetry, which is a program put out by Logos School, and which we did this year. So that's also a classical program that Ambleside Online recommends for their 7th grade students. And if you did, which it's a great program and I love it, but if you go through and use Cottage Press, all that same material is spread throughout here. And it's built for short lessons also. This is not something where you're going to be doing language arts for hours every day. Even though you're learning writing, you're learning all these things, it's built with short lessons. And you move along, you kind of touch on a whole bunch of different areas, but it's all tied together thematically with the content, and you're using poetry and you're using great quotes to study the concepts, which is very nice. So she just put out the it does include writing, yes. Whether or not it includes literature, it does include studying poetry, and it uses selections out of literature. So I would say it covers the content areas of studying language. It doesn't assign like a bunch of reading classics. So you would still want to be doing a whole bunch of just read alouds and free reading, but any kind of studying of terms and concepts, this would cover, if that makes sense. It's not assigning you a literature selection and saying, have a book discussion on it, but it is pulling out selections and poetry and using that to talk about different literary concepts and practice narration and learn styles and techniques and that kind of thing drawn from real literature. So she has a couple different levels. She has a primary level, that's the fables. So it starts with the fable level. So in that sense, it does cover it does do writing in the same way that IEW or CAPS does, where you take a poem, you take a fable and you rewrite it, and you do certain things to learn how to write by rewriting. So it's the same idea of how to teach writing through imitation that IEW and CAPS writing program do. But whereas those are pretty much just writing programs, this one is a full language arts, and so it pulls out other things from it. And it's complete, but it's not super rigorous. If you think of rigor as being like you're going to be spending a lot of time and it's going to be a bunch of terms and the dreaded subject, it's not going to be like eating gravel. It's going to be short lessons, you cover the concepts, but it's just beautiful and not pounding your head against a wall. If pounding your head against a wall is what you think of as what rigorous means. So it includes commonplacing, so I guess that could be a literature thing. So it teaches kids how to commonplace, and Kathy, the author of this, actually has a guest post on my blog on how to teach children to commonplace. So you can look for that. Kathy Whites, who started Cottage Press and who wrote this material, helped write the classical writing program. And then she wanted to put together, she's used that and she's tutored, she kind of has her own cottage school, and she wanted something that was an all-in-one. And so she wrote it for her own cottage school and now publishes the material. There's a primary level, an intermediate level, and an upper level. So it's fable and something, like story and fable, fable and something, bards and poetics and pro-gym, I think, is the middle level, and bards and poets. And it says proof edition because this one's brand new out. So she sent me this review copy. And she sent me the elementary level program also, but I gave it to a friend who was actually going to use it. So I don't have that one to show you. But so it includes spelling through studied dictation, it includes vocabulary, it includes narrating from great pieces of literature. It includes all those pieces and walks you through the whole thing step by step. It's open and go. There are kind of a lot of pieces because there's a student workbook. There's the teacher answer key workbook that has lessons. There's a teaching helps book, and so this goes over, it's like this is the mini version, so you don't have to go flipping through the big version that has the whole student book plus everything else. This is kind of the short and sweet version, where if you can just page through this and say, okay, it includes diagramming helps in here, like how to parse it out and how to explain it a little bit better if you need more help with diagramming. It has helpful charts. As you can see, they get to some pretty complicated diagramming here. I have not actually seen a homeschool writing program that delves into that complex of diagrams. I learned that level of diagramming in college, but I haven't seen anything that goes that's this thorough and really breaks down, once you know how to do one, a sentence like this, when you just add more to a sentence and you're using well-written literary sentences, this actually isn't that big of a deal, but it gives you kind of the step-by-step and how to diagram complex sentences pulled from literature. You are reading some pieces of literature, So like there are selections pulled out. The translation of the Odyssey by Alexander Pope, that was written in the 17th century. And then, so yeah, it does go over literary stuff, because then it answers questions like, what genre is it? Look over the lyrical elements, like, and it gives you examples of, you know, concepts to pull out, metaphors and all that. So it does do literary analysis in a way, literary concepts that then you could translate, but it doesn't assign reading outside of this. It kind of gives you a little selection, little selections, and then you talk about just that selection there. So it's built to just be open and go, short lessons. You get a little something, it tells you what to talk about. And I think it would be very good for families that, if you aren't confident about the language arts, or you aren't confident in your grammar or your writing or how to talk about literature, this just makes it simple and is totally complete. So if you pick Cottage Press, you don't have to have, you know, a vocabulary program and a spelling program and a writing program and a literature program and a grammar program. It's like all those language things, you know, poetry, all of it's right here. So that makes it really nice and a money saver for sure. I can't remember, you know, actually how much she charges for the program, but this is an all-in-one kind of thing. And I think each book, even, so this is like this big book, I think it's supposed to be, so it's not specifically grade level like that. There's a primary grade, a middle grade, and an upper grade. And I think each book is supposed to be 2 or 3 years. So you buy this one set of books. And this is not, you're not going to do all of this in 1 year. You're going to walk through and do this over 2 years or so, maybe even 3. And I like that it's not specific grade levels, because you start when your kids are ready and you move through at the pace that's working for you. And it doesn't have those arbitrary grade levels. It's just beginning, middle, and upper, and it has this progression. And I think that you could start with the level, like if you have a middle school or upper elementary child, I don't think you have to start with the fable. If they've already had some language arts or whatever, you're just starting in the middle. Maybe you're starting homeschooling, maybe you're moving towards classical or Charlotte Mason. You could start with the middle level book and not feel lost. So you should start with the level that you feel your kids are going to be most comfortable in, and not have to go through the entire, you don't have to start your 6th grader in the elementary book. You can start them in the middle book. So I really like the Cottage Press books. This is the kids' book here. So it gives them the assignments, and you can just open and go and do the next thing, and it lays it all out there for you. And the language and the explanations are really clear. You can tell she's taught this multiple times to real kids in a homeschool type setting. So this is geared for homeschool moms to use and not for classrooms. And I think that makes it a perfect option, because I love curriculums that are written by homeschool moms for homeschool moms who know what they're doing and know what they're after. They know their purpose and their style, and they just make something that fits just right. So there we go. That is Cottage Press Language Arts.